Well, actually, I think there's two things for a company to be. It needs to be investment ready and investor ready, and they are different. The company has to be investment ready, meaning that it is at a point where the only thing it is missing is the capital necessary to go on to the next stage. All other things that could be done have been done. From an investor ready, which is what most people think about, this is a question of the entrepreneur. Have they decided in their own mind that they want to share the ownership of the company? Do they appreciate that they no longer have sole control over the company? Are they in a position to present succinctly and concisely their business proposition? Have they gone through all the key questions that an investor would like to have answered? Have they prepared their legals, their due documents, and their diligence in such a way so that the investor can efficiently go through all those materials? A business can be investment ready when an entrepreneur is not yet investor ready. But vice versa, it is really hard to believe an entrepreneur could be investor ready unless they have a business that's investment ready.
When I look at a company to make any investment at all, I'm looking at the management team and the processes. The management team have to have shared values, multidiscipline, and who work well together, and not all of the same type. The processes need to be reasonably strong, because processes is usually a work in progress, but the processes need to be reasonably strong to deal with at least the operational side of the business. But to me, the management team is key. With a good management team, you can fix a lot of things.
When you've got an established business that's now ready to bring on an investor, the first thing I would always say to businesses is make sure you understand who the investor is. Because when you run a business, you've got a particular culture and a style that you're really passionate about. Does the investor really buy into that? And I think spending a bit of quality time with the investor, I think, is really important. One of the things that I always suggest to people who come to me is that they take some references from me. Talk to other businesses that I've invested in so you understand my style and my approach. Am I somebody who's going to be in there every day? Am I somebody who just turns up once a month at the board meeting? What value other than capital do I really bring? So I think as much as the investor does a lot of due diligence on you, I think it is perfectly reasonable for you also to do some due diligence on him.
When an external investor joins the board or have decided to make the investment, the management team first of all have to realize that they have another person or another group of people that they have to answer to. They're not totally in charge of their business anymore. They're there now to perform and report back on the performance of the company. So that it's vital that they understand that at the beginning, as soon as possible, and work out a process of how to communicate with the new investor.
As an investor, when I join the board of any business, there's always that initial, we're reporting to him because he's come on board. The team essentially have worked together, they're all founders of the business, and the investors are kind of a third party that's arrived who's the new kind of guy on the board. And there's always that feeling of, we're kind of reporting to him. I think my advice would be you're not reporting to him. You're working as a collective. We're all collective shareholders working together for a common good.
I think that depends on a number of factors. I think that an angel investor is distinct from an institutional investor. Because when an angel investor invests, their outcomes are aligned with the entrepreneur in a much larger way than an institutional investor's. An angel investor invests their own money. Therefore, when the company succeeds, they succeed. When the company fails, they fail. An institutional investor invests somebody else's money. When the company succeeds, they succeed. And when the company fails, they're fine. Therefore, an institutional investor's instincts and motives are quite frankly not aligned, and therefore should be suspect from an entrepreneur's point of view. Whereas an angel investor's motives, by definition, if both parties are rational, should line up. Do I think an angel investor can be a mentor or an advisor? Yes, but this comes down to people. If they're trustworthy people, then they can be trusted, but that's something that emerges over time and should never be taken on faith.
An investor has made a decision to invest in the company for a particular reason and would need to have his return on investment. And hopefully the company will grow and he'll make a good return out of it. And to be a mentor as well would be a very compromised position. And mentors should be sought in either the chairman or other non-executive directors on the board to help the management team, in fact, to grow the company and to be successful. And most investment that I have seen would usually go hand in hand with either a chairman, a non-executive director, or a group of people that will help the management team in their normal business and mentor them to do their business.
I think a number of investors do act as mentors for the business. And I think if you are in a position where you identify a particular investor that also can take that role as an independent, as a third party, that can mentor the actual board itself, and not just the chief executive, but the whole team, I think you've got yourself a winner.